Hello everyone, it's Mike Levin from Pipulate.com, getting ready here to expand the system a bit. You can see here that when you have a web page displaying, you can click the Pipulate bookmarklet and it will come up in the user interface, and as it does you can see this dev command line output update. So it sees that because I'm on a site other than Google Docs, it's saying get links. And what I'll do is I will go into a Pipulate spreadsheet, a spreadsheet named Pipulate. I will add a blank sheet 1 or a tab in the first position, and then I will say get links. And this is how it would work for you. It grabs the link from whatever was displaying when you click the bookmarklet, and it does a one-page crawl into Google Spreadsheets, setting things up for various types of lookups. These I'll probably talk about later today. We'll ignore those for a moment. But these other guys are kind of interesting. Let's move this over here so we have less window repositioning later. You've got title, description, and page rank. These are two things that come from the HTML of what's displaying here, and then this is one that hits an offsite API. So I just click this again, and see I don't have to change anything. It knows to target a spreadsheet named Pipulate if it's not containing the URL of a the URL of a Google spreadsheet. And there you see it. It filled in the title tag, the meta description, the description from the meta element, and that page happens to have a page rank of 0. It's no problem. But the noteworthy thing about this site that I just crawled is it's PicniCSS. Clever name, because the URL is PicniCSS.com. So it combines the two words. And it's a really lightweight UI assistant that lets you do stuff like these kinds of menus for mobile. And if I were to actually visit the Pipulate site from a desktop version as opposed to the sort of pop-up one that the bookmarklet created, you'll see that the UI is active there, and there's some interesting behavior, like say I shrink this down past the point where that word could be drawn and I still want this burger button to slide over to the left. All I do is I use a media query to say when it gets below, I think it was somewhere around 300 or 400 at this point, do display type :none. And so I'm starting to use media queries and viewports in the construction of my user interface, and I'm making things context sensitive now, where the button changes. So if you were to like initiate a crawl from say YouTube, and you were to click the bookmarklet from here, instead of saying Pipulate, the button will say get videos. But this is a little too limiting, because what you're really doing here is you're selecting from a menu of templates or deliverables you're intending to make for clients. There's all kinds of cutting-edge scalpel-like investigations you can do with Pipulate that don't take long because they only look at a small number of pages, but they use a lot of intelligence to crawl and figure out what those pages should be. And for that, I need to do some dreaded user interface design and development. Anyone who knows me knows I stay away from user interface stuff like it's poison, because for a project that should take 6 months, it's going to be now a year and a half or 2 years. It just is disproportionately more of any project than anyone expects it will be. On the flip side, a good user interface is what makes all the difference and what changes everything without people realizing it's happening, as say Apple did with the iPhone when it came out. think what mobile and smartphones were before the iPhone. I happen to have a Sony Ericsson P910A, so I happen to know it was actually quite good. It just wasn't Apple that made all those little nuanced and unexpected decisions that no one else had the guts to make, like going to touchscreen and having no stylus. I've fallen back in love with the stylus, and I have the Samsung Note 3, but I digress. That is what I used to draw this guy here. So I guess I really didn't digress. I could do this because I had the precision of a stylus while I was drawing on my phone, and then just emailed it to myself through Gmail, and you know the rest. I rescaled it using GIMP, and now Pipulate has this wonderful look with this great font. You know, this is just from Google Fonts. I lucked out, and a little hand-drawn flourish, and all this responsive goodness. Look at that. You have to get this small before anything weird happens, but that can only happen in a pop-up like that. If you go over to Pipulate here, there is going to be a minimum size, which I planned for. And there you have it. Pipulate, my friends. Next step, putting a menu of templates or deliverable types here and making the smart button not need to be so smart and let the user choose what sort of output they desire. And that'll be my next Code with Mike item you'll see me doing on the next video. And thanks for joining me. I'll see you then, and don't forget to subscribe.